So, firstly, I'm sure you noticed, I'm not wearing any makeup because I want to keep this focus not on my face, but on my story. And I hope that this story can help you in any way as an individual and help you grow and let you know that you're not alone. And I'm already getting emotional, but I'm just really thankful. My story starts in Chicago. That's where I spent the first 8 years or so of my childhood. I remember always being attracted to males, to boys, and I didn't really know why, but I just was always attracted to guys, to little boys, because I was little at the time too. So, I remember there was a really cute boy on the TV screen, and it was a commercial for some toys, and I thought he was so cute, and I was about 3 or 4 at the time, and I ran up to the TV, and I kissed the boy on the lips on the TV, and I was all shy about it, and I got red, and then I turned around, and I noticed that my father was there, and he saw me, and he spanked me. That's when I kind of got the taste of who I am, supposedly who I am, was, quote, wrong, unquote. Just fast forward to when I'm in elementary school. We moved when I was 8 years old to Florida. When I was in elementary school, that's when the bullying started. Elementary school, it wasn't the worst years of my life, but it was difficult. And oh my gosh, I don't want to say my old name, but okay, my old name. It's not that anymore because I changed it legally and stuff like that, but my old name was Edgar. And so in elementary school, they would call me Ed Girl because I was very feminine and I always was hanging out with the girls. And my favorite thing to do during recess was jump rope, hopscotch, and the swings. I would get lost on the swings. I just loved losing myself, so to speak, on the swings and just being kind of alone. But at the same time, I had a lot of friends, and I'm just a very social person, and I like to always be nice to people. I was always nice to people, really, really nice. And people would step all over me all the time. And they also called me Jimmy Neutron because I had a really big head, and I still have a big head, but it fits my body now because I have grown into it. But they called me Jimmy Neutron and just so many mean words. But anyways, fast forward to middle school when I was first hitting puberty. I was finding more and more that I was really into boys and I loved boys. And people would call me names for it, of course, faggot, you know, gay, faggot ass, bitch, stuff like that. It was really hurtful. And in the locker rooms, I would hate changing out in the locker rooms. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. But I would hate changing out in the locker rooms because they would always bully me and push me around and slam me into lockers and say and do really, really mean things. And it didn't help either because I would come home and my parents would they just weren't supportive of me. And it really sucks because not only were you bullied at school, but you come home and you don't have any really love, any acceptance. And I haven't felt true acceptance from my parents ever since puberty. Anyways, middle school were the worst years of my life. And I didn't really have any support systems except from my friends at the time. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was also very chubby in middle school. And once I got into high school, I just lost a lot of weight. And I have stretch marks to prove it. I have them on my butt, just in case if you're interested to know. But it's not too bad. I remember in middle school one day, we had a parent-teacher conference, and I'm never going to forget this in my life. But I didn't sit with my parents at the parent-teacher conference. I sat with one of my friends. And I just didn't want to sit with my parents because they were always like not accepting at the house, and they always like said kind of mean things and just crazy stuff. And so what kid would want to sit with their parents, at a parent-teacher conference if they don't even like their own parents? So I sat with my friend, and after the parent-teacher conference was over, I went to my parents, and we were walking to the car, and my father was so upset, and I couldn't understand why. And then he tells me he was mad because I didn't sit with him. And in front of kids, in front of everyone, when we were walking down the hallways to the car, he was hitting me repeatedly on my head and hitting me and hitting me. I was crying and crying, and the kids were watching, and they were like, whoa, hey, what's wrong? Like, I couldn't even answer them. And we had a van at the time, and I just closed the van and just started crying. And of course my parents didn't care. My dad would always be like, shut up, you shut up. Don't you talk to me. Don't, stop crying. Stop crying. Fast forward to high school. I never knew what transsexual was. I always thought I was gay because people were always calling me gay. Even though inside I never felt gay. Just like, well, I must be gay if they're calling me gay and faggot and all this stuff, so okay. And I remember I kind of went like through a little bit of an androgynous phase that a lot of trans women go through. And I remember I went out one time when I was 18. I went out to a club. It was a gay club, and I dressed up pretty much like drag queenish, I guess. After school, I came home one day, and everyone was upstairs in my room looking at the computer, and I'm like, why? Why are you looking at my computer on my Facebook? And there was just like a chill in the air. I was just so scared. I knew what they had found. It was the pictures of me dressed up as a girl. And with a wig on and heels and everything. And my dad was like, what is this? I'm like, I didn't answer because my dad's really intimidating. And honestly, I'm scared of him, terrified. He doesn't understand how that affects me. But he's like, what is this? What is this? What the fuck is this? What the hell is this? On the TV, or on the computer. And I didn't even answer. I was so scared. I didn't want to get, a spanking, a whip, or we call it whipping, because we did it with a belt. So I immediately ran downstairs, and I just ran outside the door. I ran outside the door, and all I could hear was like a scream in the background telling me to come back. And I ran and I ran and I ran, and I didn't come back until the next day. in the morning, or in the afternoon actually, because I ended up running so far until it got dark and I didn't know where to go. And eventually it was like 3 in the morning, and I was outside my best friend's at the time. They are my best friend. I was outside their house, and I was just knocking on her window, just waiting until she wakes up, and she finally woke up, and I slept there. Here's the crazy story. My parents, after that happened, my mother brought the pastor over, because we were going to this church that I really liked, and everyone was so friendly. Needless to say, I don't go anymore because my mother brought the pastor over not once, but twice. And both times, he pretty much just put me down and said that I really don't see your life going anywhere positive. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to have a lot of suffering. And when they would pray for me, I would just walk outside and just keep walking. I was so angry. I was so angry and really, really hurt. And I'm still hurt to this day. And that happened about 5 or 6 years ago. Not only did that happen, but I remember screaming and crying because my parents were just being really mean, and I didn't know what to do, and they were threatening me. Mainly my father makes the threats because he's the power in the house. So I remember I screamed so much at the top of my lungs, and I've always had a high voice, so it was a really high scream, and I fell on top of their bed, and I was just like that, and I was just screaming like this, and my mother took the Bible and put it on me and started rebuking the demons, like almost like an exorcism, while my father was holding me down. And I was just powerless in that moment. And I turned my tears into a look of disgust. And I looked at them like, is this for real? Like, I could not believe it. They were literally trying to rebuke demons out of me. And I really feel like they've lost their child. Being that I'm adopted, I have my biological family in Connecticut. And I was about 19 or 20 when I went to go visit my biological father for the first time and get away from my adopted parents because I just didn't want to be around the house. And the plan was for me to move to Connecticut and move in with my biological family. Of course, that plan didn't work out, but when I saw my father for the first time and flew to Connecticut, I was kind of taken back. I never called him father because he was never there. I called him Frank. That's his name, is Frank. So I just called him his name. And I was living with my uncle, and really the main reason I went over there was to find myself. And I did. I found out that I am a transsexual woman. Long story short, I came back home after a few months in Connecticut, and things got a little bit better at home. My parents still don't accept me for who I am, and they never will, like I said before. And when I move out, they lost their child. They did. And if you don't want to lose your child, if you have one, then I kindly advise you to accept them and love them no matter what. And don't threaten your children. Don't threaten them. Those leave permanent scars, and I have a lot of scars in my heart. That's my coming out story. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching. I look forward to this year. I look forward to hopefully growing my channel and growing with you. Together we are one, and we are all connected in some way spiritually. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.